Hello and welcome to a brand new and final episode of the 2025-2026 season with your hosts, as always and forever, henceforth shall be known as Larry and Stevie, or Steve-O, as according to his... How's it going, Stevie?
Yes, doing my Gary Neville impersonation of Barcelona and Chelsea's, was it Champions League semi-final, was it, when he went, oh...
Yeah. He always does that, though. He always does that. And you know it's bad when Gary Neville goes, oh, in the background, you know? It's like, shit, he's heard something that we're about to fucking listen to. Yeah,
I quite like it, really.
I like it, but he's annoying. Anyway, forget Gary Neville. Forget that guy, mate. This is the final episode of Real Arsenal Talk with both of us here, obviously, just us today. Just a quick side note for people out there listening. We did do a final Premier League episode, but that was in collaboration with Don Gas Podcast, so there will be links somewhere in the ether of the internet and life. So go find it out there. Go hunt for the links, basically. That's all I'm saying. So we did do one. We did the team of the season, all that stuff. I'll probably put them in the description for this episode. Anyway, Stevie, final episode, and I'll be honest, I was kind of hoping that we'll be just basically making noises and then ending it within 5 minutes. But unfortunately, we are forced by our producer to be here. That goddamn producer.
Yes, he's naughty boy.
Fuck that guy.
Yes, mate. I sent a message late last night after the final, and that's kind of how I felt. But to be honest, obviously we've spoke about this for a while, and you know, he's all right, and to win the Champions League would have been like kind of the icing on the cake. And as much as I was fucking devastated last night, I was really devastated because at one point when we scored, it was kind of, I don't know yourself, but when Havertz scored after 5 minutes, I was tucking into a kebab, and the angle that he scored from, I was like, oh, eat my kebab, like, as you do. And it was like, has he really scored? Because it looked just like it went into Rose Ed to me, and I went,
I thought it was side net,
and it was a delayed reaction. It was just like yeah, well, carry on eating. And it was so strange, and I carried on eating, and I was talking to my mate. Well, it was only one of my mates at the time. The other one had gone for whatever, barbecue or something, and it was so like uneventful. I don't know how you felt when you watched it. You just go, whether you were jumping for joy. I just said to my mate, it's too early. We scored too early.
I mean, look, obviously it was too early, of course, and in no way did anyone think that's going to be it now. But I did do a little fist bump because I was watching by myself, so I did like a little fist bump, pop, pop, like a silent one, like a pop, pop. Do you know what I mean? A little quick one.
Get in there.
Yeah, get in there. But yeah, just like you though, and you sort of like missed it, even though you were watching it. You kind of missed the ball go in, and you think, what just happened? And then you see the replay, you think, oh wow, that is actually a pretty good angle or weird angle to score from. And he put it away, and it was Kai Havertz. And in some parts of me, and maybe the majority of me, was thinking, this is quite a good omen that Kai Havertz has scored in the Champions League final. This is good. And for about 60 minutes, maybe something like that, we were good. We were doing well. Like, you know, we were just playing the game. It wasn't like, you know, I read a lot of things today. Not because I was looking to read them. It's just by chance they happened to pop up on the feed, and then I immediately unfollowed all those pages because it's like, no, you're talking shit. Where they were like, oh, it was a boring game and blah, 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 and PSG saved football. And it's like, well, that's not what I was watching at all. I thought it was a very controlled game. You know, Arsenal didn't just sit back. The only time they sat back was when, obviously, you know, it was visibly that they didn't have anything in attack. So they were like, right, well, we can't really push too far forward because we will get caught on the counter. And, you know, how many runs did we get in behind? But we dealt with them. You know, we're talking about one one instance in a Champions League final where it just, you know what I mean, where Mosquera just sort of like, not switched off, but it just caught him wrong. That's all it was. Do you know what I mean? One chance. And then you get people out there online going, oh, well, PSG, they saved football, they did this. They did nothing. PSG did fucking nothing. If it wasn't for Mosquera taking down, who was it? Fucking Neves or some shit. Was it Neves?
Kvaratskhelia.
Was it Kvaratskhelia? Oh, it was. Sorry, yeah, it was Kvaratskhelia because it looked. Yeah, he showed his shin, didn't he? He took down Kvaratskhelia, right? If it wasn't for that moment, I don't think PSG would have scored. Like, I'll be honest with you, we were comfortable against what they were shooting at us, and Raya didn't really do much throughout the whole game. When you think about it, you know, in the context of what the match was, and you know, we were in the final and blah blah blah, and PSG and their attackers. But as I said before, I wasn't afraid of PSG. I wasn't watching this match with any sort of, like, you know, nerves or any fear. And I said that in the group as well when Jim asked from Don Gas podcast in the group, when he asked, you know, are you boys nervous? Why? Why would we be nervous? Like, you know, we're a good team. We're a very fucking good team. We're not some underdog team going out there facing prime Barcelona or prime Real Madrid with Ronaldo in the team. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're a good team. The Barcelona side we faced in 2006 was a lot better than this PSG side. Like, let's just make no mistakes about that. So anyway, my point being that overall, of course, it was disappointing, but at the end of it, I wasn't like, oh, fucking hell, it's a failure. No, it would have been good. It would have been a great bonus to win the Champions League. We went so far. The most frustrating bit for me was definitely the sort of, we took it to penalties, so it could have literally been anyone's. But, you know, we'll get to the penalties, of course we will. And look, sorry, before you jump in, I don't actually want to discuss or dissect the match too much. You know, for me personally, watching it, I felt comfortable. You know, I felt like we were in safe hands as fans when you look at our Arsenal team. How did you, what did you think? That, like, did you think differently to that? Like, were you thinking, oh, these guys are still inexperienced, blah, blah, blah?
No.
I didn't get that, so.
No, I thought, personally, I mean, I was like yourself, I wasn't worried for maybe a different reason for yourself. I mean, obviously when Jim mentioned, I said, are you guys nervous? And you put no. I think I was nervous because I just think that the Champions League to me was a bonus. It was like a bonus game. It was like, you know, you've won the league and this is just like a, you know, when you go on the roulette or the slot machines and you get like a free hit, a free sort of spin or a free bonus ball or, you know, a lucky dip with the free ticket sort of thing. That's what it felt like to me. And it was like, I didn't ever think we were probably going to win it. But the longer it went on, we did have opportunities, and I thought that obviously I mentioned it in the group chat that they were there for the taking. The luck when Kvaratskhelia went off, when Dembele went off, they just looked so bang average, but we did not. I think Arteta reverted back to his usual cautious self, and that was my biggest frustration on the night, regardless of, like you say, you know, the outcome of the game. I think the frustration was that our bench was fucking really good last night, and for those that came on, you know, Martinelli, Eze, Madueke, Gyökeres, that is, you know, a great bench to have. And we still had Dalman, we still had Jesus, you know, we still had those on the bench to come on. I know we couldn't with Calafiori, maybe it's a different, you know, conversation again, but I think Arteta missed a trick, really. I think he was a bit too cautious, a bit reverting back to, you know, the same reasons why we didn't beat Liverpool, etc., you know, those games throughout the season. But yeah, I guess to me, I think it was a bonus game for me. And I wasn't worried because I didn't expect us to win. Like, obviously I predicted on the other pod with Buck that I thought we'd get beat. Yeah, you got the score prediction right, but I don't think it was about that really. I think it was just the overall experience, and you know, we got to the final, we won the Premiership, and I was devastated last night. But today I'm kind of over it, and I hope the players are. You know, they've achieved a great feat this season with winning the Premiership that they haven't done for like 22 years. So next season, like we've said, a few extra players. I think the team will be strong enough. I don't think we're really that much, to be fair, but I'd love, you know, to buy 6 players because we'll obviously lose some. But yeah, to me, just a bonus game last night. I'm not really that fussed, but go on.
Yeah, no, I wasn't that. Like you said, it was nice to be in the final, and the fact that we didn't get slapped about, 5-0 or 4-0 or whatever, like people were predicting that we would. Which, by the way, was ridiculous. I don't really see the actual logic in predicting that sort of scoreline. But yeah, you're right. They were there for the taking, and a problem that's plagued us since Arteta started really is the fact that we don't have the strikers. Not just the strikers. We don't have the forwards or the strong forwards that we need to go and finish a game. You said Gyökeres, Madueke coming in. I mean, look, they're good. They're good players. Of course they are. They'll make a difference, but not in that sort of, like, it's too much to rely on them considering what we've seen from them so far this season. It's unreasonable to think they're going to come in and actually make a significant impact on the game, which they didn't. They didn't. Gyökeres, however, I did feel though that these players could have come on a lot earlier. Like Eze could have come on a lot earlier. To be honest, Mosquera could have come off a lot earlier. There was moments before that penalty. And even in the first half, there was moments where it showed like okay, he may struggle a little bit here. So there was enough there for me. Again, we're talking hindsight here, so of course, let's take it as it is. But in hindsight, yeah, I think Timber should have come on a bit earlier. He would have jumped straight in, like he did. He came straight on and he just slotted in. Like there was no issues with him. So yeah, look, not much fault that I can lay on Arteta. Do you know what I mean? I can't really blame him for much. Maybe a couple of the changes. Go on. Do
you not think the tactics were a bit negative from him? Like, I thought the first half, it was kind of the Alamo after we scored. It was kind of, we were just sat. So it reminded me of when we played City when we went down at 10 men that season, and we couldn't get the ball out. We had no out ball. It was constant pressure. We had, obviously the stats proved that we hardly had any possession, which was quite unreal, to be fair. And I thought, can Arteta change it? How can he change it? What does it need? Is it the players that we've got that can't cope with them? And I don't know. I mean, I know you're saying that you couldn't blame Arteta, but I don't know. I just think that the tactics that we use, I know we went 1-0 up, and I personally thought we've scored too early, and that nullified the game, and it pushed us back into our shell, which we have done predominantly the whole season. As soon as we kind of score, it's like, right, okay, let's sort of defend what we've got.
Yes, I will agree with you on that, and that is part of Arteta's sort of style of management, apparently, especially when it comes to high pressure games. And so there was, what I'm trying to say is there was no real surprise the way that we played there, and the fact that look, the reality, Stevie, is that we don't have a threat going up. Do you know what I mean? Going forward, we don't really have the threat. We've got teamwork that like, you know what I mean. That sort of when we sort of when they play together, they will get goals, but we don't have a real threat. Whereas these guys have three people who are just crazy threats going up front. And I think part of Arteta's tactics is it's like, look, we need the opening, like they had with Havertz, for example. We need that opening, we need that opportunity to get in behind, because otherwise we will not be able to get in behind. And that's why they were cheering corners and set pieces, because it's an opportunity for them to actually make a difference in the game, because they realize that our attackers are not good enough to break this back line. We're good enough to sustain pressure, and they were good. Like I said, the penalty is a penalty, and it reminds me of that Liverpool game in this earlier in the season when Szoboszlai scored from crazy range, and you think, fucking hell, we lost because of that, and that's why we lost. That's why we lost this match. The final, we lost because of a penalty. That's it. Make no mistake about it. Even in the extra time, we were still sustaining the pressure. Like we were able to handle it. Anything that they threw us, we were able to handle it. But unfortunately, it took that one opportunity that took it to penalties. We took it all the way, man. We took it all the way. But yeah, for me, it was probably the changes, the substitutes that could have been a little bit earlier, I feel, because Odegaard didn't really do much. I feel like Zubamendi could have probably been a better fit in that midfield. Personally, I like Zubamendi. I think he would have done better there. But again, it's all
hindsight. Isn't it?
Yeah, it's all hindsight. Of course it is. And like I said, we were in the final at the end of the day, and we took the current European champions all the way to the end, to penalties. And when it comes to that,
arguably, like you say, that we took the current European champions, and arguably in most people's eyes the best team in the world at the moment, and we made them look bang average. Yeah, they were amazing in possession. The stats proved that,
of course.
And we couldn't get out, but we held. It was the immovable object versus the irresistible force, as people were billing it, and we made them look pretty average. Although we didn't create much ourselves, we made them look average, which is, it's a testimony to the team, really. And with one or two other players and potentially different kind of tactics, we probably should have beat them. But look, like you say, we live to fight another day for next year, which. Hopefully it'll come soon. Do you remember when City won it? Did they get to the final when they won it? The year before, because I know they got the semis one year, like us, and then did they get the final and get beat off? Was it Chelsea? Did Chelsea beat them?
Chelsea won it. Yeah, Chelsea 2021, I think it was, wasn't it?
Did they beat City?
Yeah, they beat City
in the final.
Yeah, they beat City in the final. Yeah.
Was that on penalties?
Oh,
was that Kai Havertz?
Can't remember. Yeah, that was Havertz. I don't think that was on penalties, was it? Because he scored the only goal. I think it was 1-0. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I'm just trying to work out if City did what we've just done, where they, get to the final the year before and then they win it the year after. I don't know. We'll have to look up.
Yeah, we'll have to
we'll find that.
Yeah. We'll have to have a look. But yeah, look, the Champions League final, man. It was 20 bloody years, and we were there, and we put a good show, and kind of a repeat of 20 years ago where the refs kind of got involved a little bit. Just
my notes robbed.
And you weren't the only one. You weren't the only one who said that. There was former referees who came out and said that incident should have been looked at, and it was kind of a mistake from VAR and the referee to not give that, or to at least go to the screens. I don't want that to be the defining sort of moment of the season for us, or for the Champions League, for example. Do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we hadn't lost a match in the Champions League. That was the only one that we'd lost. And when you factor everything in, yes, the referee decisions made a hell of a difference at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? It's because obviously he gave them the penalty, which personally I don't really have a problem with, because it was like, what did you think of that?
Yeah, I think I was trying to look at it as and go, oh yeah, it was a bit soft to give that penalty, and he didn't get tangled up with his legs, and it's one of the best wingers in the world, kind of thing, and you're always going to be found out if you're not sort of perfect with your challenges. And Mosquera, to be fair, I didn't think I had a bad game up against that kind of quality, especially when he had Saka as well trying to help out. But was it a penalty? Yeah, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and personally, I don't really like the whole idea of when an attacker puts his leg in front of the swinging defender's leg. Do you know what I mean? I don't think that should be given a penalty, because once that leg is out to swing, like to shoot or to clear, you can't really pull that back in time. Do you know what I mean? And that really has to, something to be considered. Did he mean to go for the tackle? I thought the whole point of a penalty is when it's impeding. It's like, well, if the defender was kind of there first and then the attacker puts his leg in front, gets kicked in the back, it's like, well, that's not really a foul, because he clearly wasn't going for the play, he was going for the ball. So anyway, yeah, at the end of the day, with the current rules, yes, it was a penalty. You can't really argue with that. But in the same vein, then you need to look at the one that wasn't given for us, and I just think that's, I was a bit angry last night, I'll be honest, because I feel like if we'd ended that in 90 minutes, that would have been just perfect. But it is what it is. What do you think? What do you think of it, by the way? Like the whole incident.
The Madueke one, obviously. Yeah. I'm kind of torn really, because my heart is obviously favouring a penalty, and from certain angles it looks 100% a Stonewall penalty, but other angles it doesn't. But for as an Arsenal fan, I think that it should have been given, just purely on the fact is that he took him down, he's on top of it, and 99 times out of 100 that ref would have given that if it was PSG. I just think that the ref was so against us, so biased last night, whether it be any foul, any 50-50 decision, everything went against us, everything. And for that reason, I just tend to think that should have been a penalty. I know what you're saying. I was 50-50 at the time, because I know Madueke had hold of Mendes' arm. But then when I looked at it again, he caught his left leg, Madueke's left leg, which obviously caused him to tumble, and he was on top of him as well and forcing him down. Now, you could have looked at it and thought, if he'd stayed on his feet, he could have squared it, or he could have shot. So why wasn't he sent to the monitor to have a look? And for that reason, I'll moot.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was a blatant mistake as far as I'm concerned, and it should have just at least had a look at it and then made a decision. And if that was still a decision, fair enough. We can't really argue too much. He's seen it. But yeah, you're right, and that's why I say I don't really want it to be the defining moment of the final, because there was other moments that we could have ended the match, for example, or just been a bit stronger at the back. And look, I agree with you, by the way. Mosquera did have a good game. I'm not disputing that. However, there was a couple of moments, especially when you compare him to Nkapie on the other side, where he did struggle.
Brilliant.
Yeah, Nkapie was just fantastic, wasn't he? He was just wow. Yeah. Like, have they spent the money for him yet, by the way? They need to, because that's
there was
crazy.
Talk that we'd already made it permanent, and then there was talk that Barcelona were going to try and sign him. I think, well, I thought we'd already signed him and made it permanent,
crazy.
But I don't know.
Crazy. If Barcelona stealing Nkapie from us, by the way, then someone needs to get shot at that club, by the way, because that's crazy. That's crazy. You cannot let Nkapie go. He needs to sign. That's it. End of story.
Yeah.
But obviously we will have other episodes where we discuss transfers and potential rumors and whatnot. So we'll bring some new stuff before the beginning of next season. So we'll try out some new stuff for everyone. But yeah, sorry. Yeah, going back to that, I haven't heard as much, because obviously it's Arsenal. I haven't heard as much of like opposing fans agreeing with that being a penalty or Arsenal being robbed. You know what I mean? So and like I said, I unfollowed a lot of pages, like these sports pages, because it's at the end of the day, you're just doing it for engagement and for clicks. You're not actually speaking any facts or truthful, or probably didn't even watch the match, whoever's writing these articles. So just for that reason alone, I've just haven't been on social media that much today, because I have no interest in arguing with people just for the sake of getting their likes or whatever. Yeah. So
just a quick one on the penalty incident. I mean, when I watched it in real time, my mates were sat there going, "It's a penalty," and they were shouting. One's a Leeds fan, one's a Borough fan, and they were both shouting 100% penalty. And I was stood up saying, "I can see the ref's not going to give it," and I was shouting, "The ref's not going to give it." I could just tell what happened throughout the game. He wasn't going to give it, and you could see in Rice, he got obviously yellow carded because he knew. And I just, when the players are that sort of vocal and go to the referee, you kind of know if they just waved it on and didn't sort of protest or anything like that, then you kind of think, well, was it a penalty? But I just knew that we weren't going to get it, and as much as I was annoyed at the time, I just kind of relaxed and just carried on watching in disbelief, really, but knowing that we weren't going to get it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, well, just his whole demeanor when he was running back across the field, the ref. I mean, yeah, you could definitely he'd already made his mind up, and the fact that he'd already you could see him almost giving waving it off with his arms. So yeah, I didn't have any hope, to be fair, because I think if that had been given to us and we went 2-1, then there's absolutely no fucking way PSG would have come back. So that, and again, there you go. That's what it is, and it feels like the ref made sure it went to penalties so he could sort of be, he could be, out of the spotlight. So he's like, well, look, fucking hell, they had a chance in extra time. But again, but Arteta, it was clear that he was aiming for that 90 minutes. You know what I mean? He was aiming for that 90 minutes. But obviously, the longer the game dragged on, the more he realized, like, oh shit, well, I actually need to keep some of these substitutes for that, for extra time. These are professional players, in a final. And I'm pretty sure if you put Eze on, like, at 70th minute or 60th minute or something like that, it would have made a hell of a difference for the rest of the match, because he was livelier. And again,
straight away,
he's a threat.
Forward passing was evident. He was stronger. He was more robust. Odegaard was wasted to me. Yeah,
proper threat. He's a proper threat. And I think, obviously, Odegaard had to start because captain and final and blah, blah, blah. But if he wasn't captain, then I think Eze would have started that match. It just makes sense with the way that PSG play, and you need someone to create something, not someone who is predictable. And unfortunately, Odegaard is a predictable player. He'll hop around, he'll jump around the ball a couple of times, pass it back, make a run, pick it up, all that stuff.
He was useless last night.
Yeah, we know how he plays. We know how he plays, and there was no surprise that he came off, by the way.
I was glad he took him off, because, like you say, he was useless, wasn't he?
Yeah, but again, still a little bit. Let me just have a quick check when he actually took him off, because...
was it 60th or something like that?
When did it take
just before they got the penalty or not?
So 66th minute. So it was after the penalty. So Dembele scored 65th minute, and then Timber, Gyökeres, Martinelli, and Madueke come on 66th minute. Apologies. Let me say that again. Timber, Gyökeres, 66th minute, and then Martinelli and Madueke, 83rd minute. So Eze didn't actually come on until extra time for Kai Havertz, and Kai Havertz, he obviously dipped by the end of the match. He wasn't the same player.
So 60th minute, he should have been off.
You see what I'm saying? Like, again, make that change earlier.
Or swap it the other way around. Start with Gyökeres.
Yeah, or start with Gyökeres. But again, look, he scored the goal for us.
Yeah.
He scored the goal, so I can't be mad at that. But make the changes, watch the game. And if it gets to the 80th minute, you have to prepare, obviously, for extra time. But like I said, some of these changes could have been done a bit earlier. Like Kai Havertz, like you said, 60th minute, he could have come off then, but he didn't. So, but yeah, again, these are all just in hindsight. Watching the match. For me personally, like I said, I wasn't feeling any sort of emotion like I would feel for the Premier League. Maybe that's just because we've been talking about the Premier League for such a long time, even though we haven't won the Champions League before. But Premier League was always the one. At least we got that, so we can't really complain, can we, Stevie? Can we complain?
No,
I have no complaints, my friend. I have no complaints.
Like you say, bonus ball. That was what the Champions League was.
Yeah, and
as much as I wanted to win it for our,
of
our history and things like that, and I know you're saying the Champions League was you wanted to prefer more than the Premiership. I understand that. I do get that. You and Buck obviously agreeing on that, and I know what you're saying. But it was a bonus for me because it comes after the Premiership. I wouldn't want if it was the Champions League first. Imagine if we hadn't won the Premiership and then we didn't win the Champions League. That would have been my life. Kind of over.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
I'm like that. I'm happy. I'm not happy, but I'm happy because we won the Premiership. So there we go.
No, definitely, and I agree, of course. And even though we wanted the Champions League, or we valued it a little bit more, it's purely because we never won it, right? But we're still guaranteed. If you ask Buck now, guaranteed he's still going to be happy that we won the Premiership. Premiership, the Premierships, and the top-notch goats. Anyway, the Premier League. Fucking hell, there you go. So yeah, all Arsenal fans. And before we talk a little bit about the parade, because I haven't followed it, by the way. I don't know if you probably have. Have you?
I haven't. No, same. I've seen a couple on the news, and I've wanted to watch it, and I've seen a bit where Benny Blanco is shouting about Hincapie, get your bum out, and I've seen him throw Odegaard's glasses, and that's all I've seen. I want to watch a bit of it, but I haven't watched any yet.
No, same. I've just sort of left it to finish, and then I'll catch up on some of the highlights and stuff, because it's a long ass day, man. And again, just looking outside my front window here, as I've said before, I saw all the Arsenal fans today. All of them just walking up to the train station, and I think some of them did actually return a few hours ago, but yeah, because obviously it's finished now. But Look, mate, when I saw the pictures and that many people sort of packed together like that, I thought there is absolutely zero chance that I'm going to make it down there at the parade, because where am I going to stand? Like, you know, I don't want to be there extra early and be there the whole day. Do you know what I mean? Just to catch a glimpse of the bus with the players on. It's like, shit, I'm a grown-ass man. Like, it's good, and I'll do it another time when, you know, my son's old enough, I guess. But until then, I'm not going to fucking sacrifice my whole Sunday just to be out there, just take a couple of pictures.
Not to be like a true Arsenal fan. You won't want to be one of them.
No, fuck them guys. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I'm not a big fan of crowds, and I think for me,
I know what you mean.
It was more the transport back. Like, I didn't know if what trains may be cancelled and whatever. Do you know what I mean? So I didn't want to take that risk. And plus, with my car,
it doesn't make you less of a fan by not being there, kind of thing, does it?
No. And look, it's not going to be the only Premier League that we win. Like I said, next year when we obviously retain it, I'm going to take my son down. So
the quadruple
next year, yeah, the sextuple with the Super Cup and the fucking Club World Cup.
Oh God, yeah.
No, fuck that shit.
We don't have that shit. We have got a Club World Cup, haven't we? No, what have we got next year?
No, it's not Club World Cup, is it? Because that was just last year, wasn't it? Was it last year?
What have we got?
Nothing.
It was only if we won the Champions League that we'd have the Club World Cup, the Super Cup, against some Brazilian outfit shit.
No, the Super Cup, I think, isn't that played between fucking Champions League, and Europa League? I think, isn't it? Is that the Super Cup?
So we play Aston Villa, do we?
No, I don't think we play anyone.
I thought we did. I thought like Chelsea played PSG. No, but that was the Europa winners, wasn't it? And the Champions League winners. So PSG will play Villa, won't they?
Yes. Yeah. That'll be the Super Cup. And then I think the Club World Cup is in 2028, 2029.
Is that us?
Like that. No, that won't be us, because we didn't win the Champions League.
Yeah, fucking hell, what was I about?
No, if we won the Champions League, then we'd be in the Club World Cup, which would be in 4 years' time, I think. I don't know how it works with it being every 4 years. Anyway, whatever, money grab, as it always is.
Yeah, we play Man City, don't we? That's the only one we play.
Yes.
In the charity fucking shield shit.
Community Shield. Yeah.
Still
a trophy. That'll be two. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. I don't care about any of that. Right, real quick, by the way, penalties.
Yeah.
What the fuck was Eze doing, by the way? Can you just explain that to me real quick?
Yeah, just before we get the penalties, I just want to quickly talk about individuals, if you don't mind. I mean,
by all means,
if you want to go through the team.
I mean, sure. Look, yeah, all right.
Look,
go through the team.
Right. Okay, dead quickly.
Do it.
David Raya, okay, he didn't do much, did he? My heart was in my mouth a couple of times when he passed it out and went to their players, but other than that, he really had nothing to do apart from pick the ball at the net for the penalty, Dembele's penalty. Nketiah, fucking man of the match for me, or one of the man of the matches. Gabriel, man of the match before the penalties. Saliba, I thought he played a really good game. No problems with him.
Well, sorry, with Saliba, there was a couple of moments where he got absolutely fucking done by, was it Barcola? When Bradley Barcola came on.
Yes.
He got absolutely fucking left behind. And by the way, that's not me saying Saliba shit.
Barcola though, isn't he?
No, again, I'm not. Oh, absolutely. He wasted two chances there. He ran past Saliba, he wasted two chances. And let me just clarify this. I'm not saying that Saliba was bad or is a bad defender, but when it comes to a foot race against someone like that, he just stood no fucking chance.
Yeah.
His galloping was nowhere near.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, 100% agree. But I thought there was times when he took the ball, he carried the ball forward really well on a couple of occasions, and I thought, hats off to him. You know, he got past a few there. He
protects the ball well as well, doesn't he? Yeah, he protects the ball and he can run with it and dribble. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And but obviously, this is part of my issue with the Arsenal defence. They're not very quick. Our defenders aren't quick. They're okay. They're great defenders when it's over like sort of 30, 40 yards. But if they're up the field and some other team gets a breakaway, they're not the quickest either. That's what worries me. But anyway, Mosquera, okay up until the penalty. Rice, spot on. Perfect, really good game. Odegaard, shit. Trossard, pretty poor to be fair. Saka.
Sorry, real quick, by the way. Lewis Skelly in that midfield with Rice.
I thought he was great. I thought he did really well. Personally, I thought he didn't have much to do because we hardly had any possession in midfield when the stats shoot. And I was like, we had 17 touches, 17 passes, and they'd had something like 93 when it came up, and I was like, fuck me.
Yeah.
And then it was 370 to 90 something, and I was like, oh my God. So, but when he did have the ball, I thought Lewis Skelly, he had the ball, he protected it well, he got a couple of free kicks. Yeah, you know, one of them was a bit dubious, but I thought when he got the ball, he's strong and he took the ball forward. I think he did it twice in the whole game, but no one else did anything great. Zubimendi may have done better, and Eze may have done better. Was that the problem with Odegaard because he was too weak in midfield because their midfield bossed ours? But just quickly, just finishing off, obviously Havertz, I thought, great goal. But Saka to me was absolutely abysmal. That was one of the games where I thought he was going to shine, and he was. He didn't. Everything that we've said about him all season, abysmal.
And it was the wrong time to prove us right, by the way. It was just the wrong time to prove us right. But there you go. And sorry, just going back to the players. I'm looking at the ratings from Flash Scores, and our back line, by the way, like a combined sort of average of 6, which I think is ridiculous. Like, I think that is absolutely ridiculous that you rate our back line that low. That's stupid. I mean, Mosquera probably the weakest out of all of them, but there's no way that I accept anything less than a 7 from all of them. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because they were fantastic. And if it wasn't for the defenders, then this game would not even been close, not even a close competition. No, so if you're going to give Rice a 7 point something, then you have to give our defenders exactly the same. Rice was brilliant. Like, Rice was brilliant, and again, it proves. But however, I just feel like, you're probably right. It wasn't even Lewis Skelly's issue. It was probably the fact that Odegaard was being weak, and with Odegaard being weak, you know, it stops everyone from doing their job. And the main issue that I have is that Odegaard, yes, Odegaard likes to drop deep. And which is all well and good, but then you need the other player to make that run forward. And I feel I've seen enough from Zubimendi this season to rely on him to do that job. Do you know what I'm saying? Or swap him around and make Rice do the job that he's always done from the sort of left half space of the midfield. You know what I mean? That left on the left hand side. So and I think that's probably, you know, a couple of changes that could have been made or could have been tried. But that's why I say about Lewis Skelly that where I find it a bit questionable that he's had maybe 2 games in midfield starting for us, and all of a sudden he's doing it in the Champions League final. Unless Zubimendi's not performing, or he's had words with Arteta or falling out or whatever, I don't think Lewis Skelly was probably the right guy for our midfield right there and then. But then again, Odegaard wasn't either, so it's not even just about having to go Lewis Skelly. Odegaard, our captain, he didn't even really show up, as well as Saka. No. So again, that whole right-hand side, and maybe this is why, if you have Timber on the bench for the final game of the season, just fucking start Timber, right?
100%.
Just start fucking Timber. I don't understand why, let's start with Mosquera, let's start with Lewis Skelly. What are you fucking making experiments for? Just start your best team on paper, which is Timber on the right-hand side, if you're going to put him on anyway, and then you put Zubimendi in the role that he plays. If the only change, genuinely, actually 2 other changes. Probably Martinelli starts over Trossard for me. And the only change after that would probably be Odegaard for Eze. But again, like I said, I understand why he would pick Odegaard, and most people would pick Odegaard because he's a bit more experienced, which is fine. I don't really have a major problem with that. But the other, Timber, just start him. Shit, it's the last game of the season. If he gets injured 60 minutes in, fuck it. Who gives a shit? At the very least, he would have linked up nicely with the right-hand side. We potentially could have got another goal. Yeah. And then who cares about his injury, right? I know it sounds harsh and you know, a sadist, but at the end of the day, who gives a fucking shit?
Yeah. Right? I think you're right, Larry. I think what I was thinking as well, I think we spoke about it with Blunt about the Borough team when Hayden Hackney was very similar position where he started off the bench, where everyone I speak to, he should have started from the off and he could have created something. It's the same with Timber, like you say, he could have created something down that right wing with Saka, because other than that, he was pretty ineffective, Saka, Was it because there was no timber? Who knows? But yeah, same as Hayden Hackney. Should have done half an hour and then come off. If that's all he was capable of. Same with Timber. If he's capable of half an hour, start him. Start your best players. But like you say, it's all hindsight now, and potentially getting back to the Odegaard scenario. I think he's not captain next year. I think for him to come off in the Champions League final, that's a big statement from Arteta, and I potentially think it's either going to be Rice or Gabriel next year, because Rice to me has proved that he's captain material now. This season, last season, this season predominantly more. But I think without a shadow of a doubt, Odegaard's not stripped of it, but I think it'll be Rice, personally.
I think it will be Rice, the fact that Odegaard came off and Rice got the band instead of Gabriel. So I think Rice has moved up in the hierarchy, and I'll be honest, I think Arteta's decision was probably made, sort of 100% made after that whole, it's not done yet. I really think everyone made a lot of noise about that. Obviously,
they've got a t-shirt made now, haven't they?
Well, there you go. There you go. And obviously they've got a song.
Josh Kroenke give it to. This is the only picture I've seen, by the way. He give it to Rice, and he held it up to him.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you meant the Gary Neville shirt that he received from Kroenke. I don't know if you saw that.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah,
that was pretty funny as well.
Nice.
But so there you go, and that says it all, really. There was a lot of pundits who criticised him, like, oh, he's just saying that for just performative and all that stuff. The guy meant it. And now there's a song about it. Declan Rice, he said is not done. Do you know what I mean? That was just too fucking good. I'll put that at the beginning of this, by the way. I have no problems with Declan Rice being captain. We've been advocates for that for a very long time, by the way, for at least 2 seasons now. After he sort of, bedded himself in better with the whole Arsenal, not just the team, but the whole institution of Arsenal as well. Then you think, right, this guy is definitely the captain, and maybe that could be playing on Odegaard as well, and maybe that's why his performances haven't been that good, or maybe he's feeling the pressure. It's like, shit, I need to put in a captain's performance to get something out of here, And again, who was it that said that line? It was Declan Rice. It wasn't the captain. The captain put his head down and walked down the tunnel. So, and again, I don't mean that literally, by the way, because I think Rice was talking to Odegaard there and then. Was he talking to Odegaard when he was saying it's not done? I can't remember. Anyway, so I don't mean literally, but figuratively, he put his head down and went down the tunnel. So, I have no issues with that, and. So
it could actually free up Odegaard anyway to make him, if he does stay next season. It could free him up to become a better player. Who knows?
Possibly.
With the pressure of being the captain, he's kind of regressed in a way, hasn't he? And with Rice, taking over the mantle, which I hope he does. I hope Arteta sees. I hope it's not like a vice captain, like, no, we'll give you it now, and we can have it if Odegaard's not playing. I don't want that. I want it the other way around.
Yeah. I want the full Monty of Rice getting the captaincy. So it probably will happen, and unfortunately for Odegaard, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, with Odegaard, he needs to hold his head up high because of the fact that he's achieved a major honour now in a massive league with a massive team as the captain. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, he is the club captain, so you can't take that away from him, and he will be remembered for that, and he will go down in history as being one of the great club captains. Because obviously winning the Premier League, whatever you think of performances and blah 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 and nitpicking and stuff like that, then because overall, when you take an overall view of Odegaard, I'd say he has been good for us. Do you know what I mean? You can't deny that. He hasn't been like excellent, like we always hold Sanchez up to the highest level of players, since the Emirates era. Odegaard hasn't reached that, but he's still been good. He hasn't reached that Ozil level, of course not, even though Ozil didn't really win the league with us. He won FA Cups and stuff, but the way that Ozil played, you just loved it. You just loved watching it. It was just a shame that he wasn't around to actually to win it, but he could be one of the contributors to this overall winning team, because obviously he was still there when Arteta came and blah blah blah. But we'll do another podcast of who's been the sort of best contributor, or which players from Arteta's early seasons contributed to our team now to the winning team. We'll do something of the sort in future episodes. But going to penalties. I don't really want to spend too much time because they are penalties, but fucking Eze, I don't really like the stuttering. I don't like that shit. Just step up, get the ball inside, done, and then move away, get back in line, right? That's all he needed to do. But maybe the not the arrogance. I don't want to say arrogance because it's a bit harsh, but maybe that sort of line, that sort of headline in his head where he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to do something special here. It's like, just step up and do the penalty, mate. Just take the penalty.
Yeah,
that's
like Rice did. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen it. There's a couple of reels going around where he did the same in the FA Cup. When did they go to penalties? He did one against Liverpool, and Alisson saved it, and he did one against City, I think. Exactly the same penalty where he stutters, and then the keeper saves it. Not missed completely, but the keeper saved it. And I mean, Arteta's come out and said, in training he scores them every time, and that's all well and good at scoring them every time in training, but does he do it exactly the same way? Look, Rice, no messed about. I mean, I didn't have any doubts with Rice. I looked at him, I thought, and when he looked, it wasn't a great penalty by Rice, but just get on target.
Get the job done. That's all you need to do.
Get on target. At least make the keep a save. Yeah. But no, and obviously I mentioned in one of the texts that he, because he missed and then Raya saved the next one after that, it kind of was forgotten about in a way.
Yeah.
But if it hadn't have saved, then obviously they would have won it on that one, and Gabriel wouldn't have had to take one, would he? That would have just won it for them, I think. So there was pressure all along, and again with regards to the taking of the penalties, I think I always thought if you choose the end, then the other person goes first with the penalties. I don't know how that's worked out, whether that was already pre-planned. I didn't think you had to toss for taking them and for the end, because they won the end in the PSG, but then they tossed again and then they won to go first. So I thought it was, if you basically won the end to kick at, then it went automatically to the second team to go first or to go second. I don't know how that's changed, but No, I'm not gonna. Yeah, who cares about that, to be honest? But yeah, you're. I think for me, it wasn't even the Gabriel miss, because Gabriel, unfortunately, he was in the he was in that position at that time, so he will always be the one people look at. But for me, like I said, I think the Eze won purely because he did too much. Yeah, I know you're saying it was forgotten about because Raya saved the next one, sort of thing, but don't do that. Right, you're in a final. You don't need to stutter to take the penalty, right? That's not even a thing. Like, you just fucking step up and take the penalty. So for me, that pissed me off more than the Gabriel one. The Gabriel one, obviously, naturally, because it was the final penalty and everything was relying on it. But everything was relying on it because of what Eze did. Do you know what I'm saying? I have no doubt that Raya would have saved at least one of those penalties if we'd scored. I have no doubt. But that's why I'm more pissed off with Eze. You know what I mean? Gabriel, it happens. Saka did it back in the Euros. It is what it is. It happens, mate. You know what I mean? That's why I'm not that mad or that sort of disappointed that we lost the final. It's because we took it to penalties, and sometimes it is just the luck of the draw. And it was in this case, because you don't know what the player's going to do. You always think you're a professional, you're going to step up and take the penalty like a professional. No, this lad stepped up and he wanted to do a whole fucking thing, song and dance about it. Just fucking take the penalty, mate. It's not mid-match. Do you know what I mean? Everything's relying on this. This is the penalty shootout for a fucking Champions League final. So yeah, now that the more I think about it, now that I'm saying it out loud, the more I'm getting pissed off about it. And so for me, Gabriel's miss is like literally, it's forgotten about. It is what it is. He's had a great season. Can't even be mad at him for that. But yeah, the position that we were put in because of Eze's dumbassery. I don't know how people will feel about that. They probably won't agree with me, but I don't really care. I just feel like, that's how I felt in the moment. Yeah. No, I feel that. I do feel the frustration with the Eze, because he put us, Gabriel, in that position, because like you say, Raya probably would have saved one, and who knows, he could have saved one to then win, for us to win it if it had gone to that scoreline. I think what pisses me off with Gabriel, I think I'd mentioned it, I don't know whether it was the beginning of the season, halfway through the season, that he's going to cost us and obviously we did refer to it. I don't want to take I'd rather have been wrong all season on that, but unfortunately I was right that he was going to cost us. But to me, technically, like I've said to you before, he's not great with his left foot. He hasn't got a right foot. His left foot seems to curl. I've always mentioned that, and just everything about it. As soon as he stepped up, I knew he was going to miss. But what pissed me off more was the fact that Zubimendi didn't step up, and Madueke, like you say, 2 seasons ago, he was fighting with Palmer and whoever for Chelsea to take a penalty. So to me, what a shithouse he is. And Zubimendi, whether it was, look, Arteta went to them and said, look, do you want to take it? And they went, no. And everyone else was kind of being like, Gabriel, I'm a man, I'll take it. I don't know whether it's already been organised that Gabriel was going to take the 5th one. What's your take on that?
And that's why I don't think it's fair to say that about Zubimendi and Madueke, to be honest, because we don't really know if that was the case. If obviously,
I think it is. I personally think it was.
If it comes out that obviously they didn't want to take the penalty,
I don't think
that's fair. Then fair enough. Then yeah, I'll be like, well, that's a bit shitty from you guys. That you don't want to take responsibility just because you don't want to lose a penalty, But if it was already decided by Arteta and it's like this is the taken order, then shit, how can I be mad at them two? Do you know what I mean? It is what it is. Maybe you're saying, oh, why didn't they sort of step in front of Gabriel and be like, look, let me take this one, blah blah. I don't know how that works. So that's why I don't really want to put any sort of thing on them, purely because I don't really know how that works.
I know. Yeah, I don't know how it works, and we won't be privy to that. But when they're sat in that huddle after the final extra time minutes, and they're stood there and they're all talking and they're all sort of kind of egging each other, EGing them up and such, and come on lads, we can do this. Surely there must be someone there with, right, you're number 1, you're number 2, you're number 3, you're number 4, you're number 5, you're number 6. Surely they'll have gone round and said, because Odegaard's not playing, Saka's not on, Havertz is not on, so now you're on, I'm responsible for that, you need to take the first one. Gyökeres was always going to take the first because he's our best penalty taker. Eze, I would have thought he'd have scored, like you say, but he fucked it. He fucked about with it. Rice, I had no qualms about. I knew he'd score. And who took the 4th one?
Who took the 4th one? I don't even know, mate. Let me have a look. Let me have a quick look, please. So Rice scored, Martinelli scored.
Yeah, Martinelli, that's it.
And obviously, yeah. So Eze missed, Mendes missed, Rice scored, and then obviously, they put theirs away. But yeah, Gabriel and so that, and it's what you just said there as well when you went through the order and you said Eze is like, oh well, he fucked about. That's why that there is the whole reason why I blame it on Eze. If I was to blame it on anyone, I don't, by the way. Like, I'm not going to hold that against Eze. But if people want to make a proper argument about it, then unfortunately it is him who is to blame. Gabriel, like I said, he was unfortunate because he was the last in that running order. Like. And again, until we know factually that Madueke and Zubimendi refused, I can't see them any differently now. You know what I mean? It's for me, it's just speculation. So that's why I hope people like out there, they don't put too much hate or shit on those two players. But yeah, penalties, it is what it is, man. It's penalties, isn't it? Like,
it's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah, it is horrible. It's a horrible feeling. I hated watching them. And again, even watching them, I had no nerves. I still thought, like, yes, we could still win this until Eze missed his fucking penalty. So, anyways.
Yes.
It is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is, man. But yeah, look, the match, it was good. It was a nice watch. I enjoyed us being in the final. Hopefully next season we go to the final and win it, and then that's a nice little progression from the last 3 seasons. Tangible progression, by the way, that you can actually see it. Yes.
Yeah. Quick one. So flip the coin. Next season we finish second, win the Champions League. Is that good enough?
Yeah. Go on then. Fucking go on then. Do we win any domestic cups, or we're not talking about them? I wouldn't mind an FA Cup and a Champions League next year, I'll be honest.
Yeah, if we come second and we're 10 points behind, if we come second and we were a point behind, then I'm well fucking pissed off. But if we're 10 points behind, but comfortable, and we have a decent season, we get the final of the FA Cup, maybe win the Carabao shite, but win the Champions League, then I'm all right with that. I don't want to come second by a point in the Premiership. I couldn't handle that. Don't want to go all through the season, nearly like this. You know what I mean? On the horse.
We won by 7 points. We won by 7 points this season, man. So we can't complain. But I'll be happy with the Champions League. But I will say this, though, which again we will have other episodes where we discuss this a bit further. It all depends how we potentially don't win the league. Do you know what I mean? Does that make any sense? It all depends on what the reasons are, what the factors are. If we're still talking about injuries and additional players who, replacing injured players, then I just think there is a fucking problem there. Something needs to fucking change. Something needs to be looked at there as to why that's happening. If we don't have that problem, honestly, if we make the additions that we want and we don't have the same problem that we had this season, we win the league again. Right, I will be bold enough to say that we win the league again because we have a good enough structure. We just need the additional players, especially up front. Gyökeres, again, fine, whatever. But if you can find a better striker who can work in our system rather than trying to adapt,
do we need an extra one as well as him?
Absolutely, we do. Of course we do,
because Jesus has been rubbish and he hasn't really played, so we do need.
He's probably going to go as well, isn't he? So we will need someone to substitute in, and that's what I'm saying. Find a decent striker out there. But for me, what's missing is a left winger. That's all that's missing, really. Potentially a right wing, but obviously because you got Saka and Madueke there, you can't really make a case for a right winger. And then Waneri coming back, he could be obviously in there. Max Dowman's already doing his thing in there. So, and I really hope to see Waneri back. But again, we'll discuss this.
You'll talk about that, in
other episodes.
Yeah.
So, we will obviously make predictions at the beginning of next season, and we probably should have had a look at what the predictions were for this season. Did we say we're going to win it? I can't remember. I think we said we're going to win it. I'm sure we both said at the beginning of the season we were going to win it before we played Man United. Because after that match, I was like, I don't know about this.
You've just reminded me there. Did this season start off with a really, really tough start? Was it one of the hardest?
It was Man United.
No, our games, was there something like 7 or 8 games where they were fucking horrible? Wasn't it Man United, Newcastle, City, Liverpool?
Yes, it was a terrible start.
Was it a really bad start?
See, this is what people forget about as well when they say, PGMOL team and all this stuff. It's like, are you kidding me? Did you see the fixtures that we had at the beginning of the season? So hold on, results. Let me just have a quick look.
That makes the winning of it, all the more sweeter, really. And I don't think I mentioned this before. I might have mentioned it on the last pod that we did with Buck and everyone on. But I'm glad that we've won the Premiership with Pep still at the helm.
Yeah,
because if he'd had left and then we win it next year, it'd be like, you only win it because Pep and Klopp aren't there, blah, blah, blah. And that's why I'm really happy that we won it for, and that's what's made it sweeter for me. But plus, like I say, we had a very, very, very hard start with all the injuries that we still had. Yes, we signed players and stuff, but we had a fucking horrible start. Horrible start. But go on, what were you going to say about what teams we are?
No, I can't remember what I was going to say. What was I going to say?
Were you going to talk about the teams that we had to start off with or not? Is that what you're going to look at?
The teams that we had?
To face in the first sort of 6-8 games or something.
But hold on, because it apparently won't go that far back. So hold on, let me just give me one tiny second. Let me 2026 Arsenal fixtures. Let's just have a fucking look. Obviously it's going to make it more difficult for me, isn't it? So but we definitely had a very tough start because we just sort of went, well, they definitely. So here we go.
Was it Newcastle second? Was it Man United away, Newcastle away?
So we had.
Was it City at home?
So we had Man United away, Leeds at home, Liverpool away, Forest at home, City at home, Newcastle away, and those were leading up to So that was August, September.
Were we second or third or something after that?
Yes, we were second. I don't think we ever.
Liverpool were top, weren't they?
Yeah,
after
Liverpool
5
were top.
Games.
Liverpool were top up until I think it was mid-October, and then they had a 4-5 losing streak, and then that's when they sort of went down the shitter, and then we didn't really have any competition. I think Chelsea were kind of up
yeah,
there.
they were.
But then they started obviously doing their thing because Maresca left. And so we didn't really have much competition up until around December time when City obviously, pulled themselves together, or like end of November, because we beat Tottenham at home, and then we beat Chelsea away, or did we draw against Chelsea?
We drew Chelsea. They were 10 men, weren't they?
That's right, yeah, and we still couldn't fucking beat them. Yeah. We still sustained pressure, by the way, against a 10-man Chelsea. So yeah, that wasn't fun.
No.
But yeah, so we had a very good, and then obviously we got beat by Villa the first time, and then we beat Everton, and then Villa the other time. So look, we had a tough start. There was some tough games there, home and away, even from teams who you don't necessarily think they're going to pose you a lot of threat, but they do, like Leeds, for example. They've always been a wanker team, haven't they? So Forest again against us, they've always been wankerish. But Newcastle, luckily, we managed to beat them. But yeah, so I think, like I said, if we make the additions that we need to make for the team, I think we will be in for a shout to retain the league.
What do you think of the obviously the Kloppy Sloppy and the Iraola link?
Look, mate, right, I'm going to say this, right? I've heard you say a lot of stuff on this podcast here, but I've never ever once heard you refer to Arne Slot as sloppy. Not once. I've heard you refer to.
We spoke about it.
You refer to Klopp and Slot as the slop effect, right? That is not
sloppy.
No, the slop effect, and I've got the recordings, which I will find for you.
You'll find it.
The slop effect, you called it, and that was both
sloppy.
of them.
Sloppy.
It wasn't. It was a slop effect. That's what it was, because we trademarked it and everything.
I'm pretty 100%. I'm 99% certain I mentioned it. I referred to them as sloppy.
Yeah, okay.
Because he was sloppy defending and sloppy kind of
you
going
said
on.
Them sloppy, them, not Arne Slot by himself.
Just pull a hair out here.
But no, it's not even that, because you were talking about one. So I've never sloppy. I would have been like, right, okay, he's talking about Klopp and Slot. But the fact that you were talking about Slot and you referred to him as sloppy, it's like, well, not really adding up in my brain. My brain didn't make exactly. I forgot English for a second. That's what it was. It wasn't firing, sparking up there. But yeah, I didn't know what the hell you were talking about.
Yeah. What do you think about? Obviously, I'd said Iraola. I think a long time ago I said it's tailor-made for him. When he was, I think about 2 months ago when he handed his notice in, I said he could go to Liverpool. He's kind of that way, the way Bournemouth play football, excellent to watch, excellent to, very entertaining. Bit worrying that he's going there. I mean, he's not 100% yet, but I think he'll do really well.
Do you think that's why he left, or he handed in his resignation at Bournemouth? Like a couple of months ago, because probably the Liverpool board made the decision about Slot. Like, well, this guy's not going to be fucking. But obviously, they had to respect Bournemouth because make it into the Europe and all that stuff. So again, there could be a lot of handshakes already been made for Iraola, and it is a bit scary, to be honest. And I don't even think there's going to be like a bedding in period. I think he's just going to hit the ground running, and that's what's scariest about it. To be fair, I don't think City are going to pose that much of a threat. Obviously, they're still going to have a great team, which they still do. Maresca's not a bad coach, so let's, again, make no mistakes about it. But I think there will be a bedding-in period because of the calibre of player that he has to manage. And again, problems that he had at Chelsea, problems that everyone's had at the bigger clubs, like, Graham Potter, for example, at Chelsea. You can't control young millionaires like that. And especially young millionaires who have won titles and leagues and whatnot. So I don't think City are going to be that much of a threat. I think Man United are probably going to get a good start. I'll be honest, I probably even think they're going to be probably top till about end of October. But I think we'll be strong enough to sort of, bed in the new players that we're going to bring in and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, look.
We can do another pod on all this, can't we? Yeah.
I'm just going to just stopping myself there. That's all that was.
Yes.
But sorry. Before we do end though, in terms of the celebrations, I've been watching a couple of things. I watched that video of Ben White doing the Incapia song. I've just literally just watched it there.
Yeah.
And there's been conflicting reports on how many people have shown up. Some are saying like over 1 million, some are saying over 500,000. I mean, either way, it's been reported on Sky Sports that it's been one of the largest gatherings for a sports event in the country, in history. So we have to take pride in that, to be fair. And again, it makes me happy that pundits like Carragher and Neville and stuff like that, they forget how good or how big Arsenal actually are and how big they have gotten. since that time as well. So, it goes to show that, again, it doesn't matter how much money you pour into a club, Chelsea will never have that sort of following in terms of parades, even for the Champions League, even for both Champions Leagues. They never had that. City never had that for the Champions League. I don't even remember. Did they have a parade for the Champions League, or did they do both?
Probably did, yeah.
I genuinely can't remember. I'm sure they did, but so again, you can't buy fans and history. So there you go. It goes to show. And like I said, there's a lot of people that I saw just outside of my front window going to the train station and making their way there. And yeah, it was good. It's been enjoyable everywhere that I go now with an Arsenal cap. They're like, they sort of respect the champions. And with my gold cap, so they know the champions are walking through. You know what I'm talking about? But yeah, it's so I'm going to watch some of the highlights. But anything else that you've seen out there that caught your eye?
No, mate. I think it's been a long old season, and yeah, I think hats off to the boys. Fantastic achievement in the Premiership. Unfortunate that we couldn't get it. The double.
Yeah.
Hey ho.
Yeah. It is what it is. I'm happy with a single. Right.
Yes, I'll be happy with the Premiership retaining it next year. If we can't win the Champions League, I'd be happy with that next year. But we will talk in future pods at what we think.
Oh yeah, look, I mean, I think it's been set now, hasn't it? The precedent's been set where we can win a league. So there's no reason to think that we can't go back and win another league, whether it's the upcoming season or the season afterwards. We've proven that. I just think at this point it just relies on who is brought in. I think
the Cronkies are going to back him out.
Absolutely. I think he's proven now, and I think he's paid off from his initial plan to them. 7-year or 6-year plan, whatever it was. I think it's proven in terms of investment, they're happy with Arteta. Do you know what I mean? He's promised them something. They got their returns from that. So as far as they're concerned, it's like, okay, we can trust this guy. Let's give him more money. Let's see what he can do. And I trust Arteta and Berta, maybe not so much Berta, because I feel like that Gyökeres signing was Berta all over it. And yes, he's done well for us, but let's just let's not go crazy and say that he's been a fantastic
signing. We won the league with Berta's signings.
I think he was probably the only one. I think Zubimendi was already in the pipeline. Eze is a player that I can definitely see Arteta doing. I think Berta just sort of got the deal over the line. So do you know what I mean? So
yeah, no,
you know what I'm saying? I think Gyökeres just felt more of a Berta signing. But anyway, I trust them enough to bring in the right players to retain a title or go in for a Champions League next season, because there's no shame in the way that we lost. It was penalties. We played well up until a certain point, but that's because we don't have the players to take us over that finishing line, and especially against a team like PSG. So yeah, more to come. Absolutely more to come. But Stevie, anything else that you want to add, my friend, before we leave it for this evening?
So before I say my final goodbyes, I don't want to say it in French today, as you well know.
Of course, so that makes sense. So can you just say it in Italian?
Say it in the usual.
Italian, please. Thank you. Italian only allowed. Okay. In that case then, all right, fair enough. We will end it there. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. And don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, all that kind of nice stuff. Drop us a comment. Drop us a trophy emoji. We will appreciate it. And we will be obviously dropping episodes throughout the summer and throughout the World Cup if anything interesting happens. But we will cover a lot more Arsenal and Formula One as well. Stevie, send us out, please.
Yes, so I just want to say for the final time, thank you, everybody, for listening. Well done for winning the Premiership, Arsenal, and arrivederci, baby.
Love it. Stay safe, stay alert.